What's up, guys? Joe here, going into the next installment of our online fitness business free course that I've put together for you. And in this video today, we're going to be talking about how to find a market and essentially how to niche down and carve a space out for yourself in the marketplace. This is definitely a good one to do. It's something where I feel like people overlook a lot of the time, but it is extremely important, especially if you're somebody who's starting from scratch. You don't really have a following, like you're not Dwayne Johnson, right? He can make one post about a workout he's selling and make $1 million. But for us regular folk, it's very important to niche down. And in this video today, I'm going to talk about, how to find a niche, why that's important, how to pick a market. I'm going to walk you through an example of how to pick your market and how to dig that out for yourself, and also how to become an authority in your space. Even if you're starting from scratch. So it's not as complicated as you think. There are a couple books I do want to recommend you check out that I found that were just awesome for this. So the first is Expert Secrets. Hopefully you can see this in the video, by Russell Brunson. So he's the guy who basically invented ClickFunnels, which is another great tool that I use as well. But that book, and also .com Secrets, written by Russell as well. So these two books are fantastic for basically setting out to do exactly what I'm talking about in this course. And while I'm specific to the fitness industry, the fitness business, Russell kind of goes in on these topics a little more generally speaking. But these two books are phenomenal. I would definitely recommend. I'll put some links in the description so you guys can scoop these up and check them out. The cool thing is, on his site, they're free. You just pay for the shipping. So I think I paid maybe $7, something like that, for each of these. But I actually bought the audio book as well, which you'll be prompted for when you go to check out. Would definitely recommend the audio book. He covers even more stuff in the audio book, which is pretty cool. So you get a lot out of these two books. I think I got through both audio books in like a week, maybe a little less than that. But there's tons of good examples in here, good illustrations. And basically I'm using some of what's in his book and some of what I picked up from other people and courses I've taken. We're going to go through today. So let's talk about finding a market for yourself and carving out your space. So why is picking a niche important? Well, first off, this provides a lot of focus and direction, right? It's kind of like if you took a shotgun and just sprayed out in the open, you're kind of aiming at everything and hitting nothing at the same time. So we not only want to be able to focus on sort of one topic for you as a coach, but also too, it keeps you from having to do too much all at once, right? We want to make sure that we're, giving you some direction to teach people something where you can become very, very well versed in, and you can become the authority on it. If you're trying to become the authority at a million things, you just can't, right? And the saying I give to my clients that I coach, not in fitness business coaching, but the clients I coach in fitness, when they want to, they want to diet and they want to exercise, and they want to do this, they want to do that, and then do a million things all at once, is you don't want to be a C student at 10 things. Let's be an A student at like one thing, or maybe two things. So when it comes to niching down, this is exactly what you want to do in order to give yourself some direction and focus, so you don't feel like you're being pulled in a million directions, and you can kind of just hone in on this one thing and pound away at it. And before you know it, you're going to become that A student. You're going to become really good at doing it, let alone teaching it to people. So we definitely want to focus on that for sure. The next reason why it's important is you become a specialist. So you become somebody that people seek out for this thing. And that's what we want to do, right? There's 1,000,001 people out there that provide some general fitness coaching, right? And they think that their product's different and it's great and it's all over the place. But what's indisputable is that if you are a specialist in your field and you can differentiate yourself as the authority in that field, then people are going to seek you out. You don't need to convince them whether or not they should buy from you. Case in point, I think I mentioned this in a previous video, is look at doctors, right? If you go to a general practitioner, you Google general practitioner, the Google Maps search is going to look like chicken pox, where if you search for specialists, there's less of them. But those specialists can charge much more. They know a lot more about that specific thing, and they're helping a specific market. And that's what we want to do for you, is help you carve out a specific market that you can pull clients from, at will. And kind of dovetailing with that is that this creates opportunity for you. It differentiates you, in a whole ocean of people that are trying to do fitness workouts and whatnot. This helps you create some opportunity for yourself and gives you a chance to actually be able to build a market to get clients from. So let's get into each piece here. So laser beam focus and why this is important. People can only do so much at one time, right? So this goes for you as a coach and for your clients as well. And so, when it comes to what I do, do I write workouts for clients? Yes, but it's not the majority. The majority of what I do with clients is nutrition coaching. So when it comes to that, when I give them stuff to do, and it's funny because the first couple of weeks, they're always like, hey, is this really enough to get going? I don't give them all that much to do. If you've been through, let's say, the precision nutrition course, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? They layer in like one simple thing at a time, and you basically get that really solid and then build on it and build on it and build on it. And that goes for the clients I work with, but this goes for you as well as a coach. Because you can only do so much at one time. So if you think that you're going to come in and just make content for how to lift all these, different movements, and then how to cook and how to do your nutrition, how to count macros, all these different things, you're just going to get lost in the sea of all this, different minutia. What we want to do is basically give you some laser beam focus, something that you can focus on that's very, very specific. And then when you go to coach your clients, you're only giving them, 1, 2, or 3 things to focus on so that they can laser beam focus in and be very successful at those couple of things. And think about it. Like let's say if you had a client and all they didn't exercise, maybe even like their sleep was okay, but it could be better, but they really, really dialed in their nutrition well, would they be successful? Yeah, probably for the most part. They'd probably make some pretty good strides in their fitness and their overall health just by simply correcting that one thing, and that is nutrition. Likewise, if let's say you're a sleep coach, if you get people to sleep right, that's a huge impact. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on that one thing and you can become the master at it and helping people make that change in their life. Number 2, it's the limits the amount you have to handle. That's what that should say. You should say have to handle in that slide. But basically, like I said before, it's going to limit the amount of stuff you have to do in general, right? So imagine, like, content's a good example. Imagine if you had to make, a YouTube video every day, and they're all different, and they're all in these different things of lifting and nutrition and cooking and, sleep and meal prep or whatever. You're gonna be pulling your hair out. So basically it gives you a chance to focus down on maybe one thing to focus on. Maybe you make one big video on nutrition, or let's say if your thing is strength training, maybe you make one big video on a workout, and you can chop that up into smaller bits that you can syndicate to your social media. It just kind of makes things a little more manageable on your end. And I'm going to talk about how to post content in a whole different video. We'll cover all the nitty-gritty on that one. And last but not least, like I mentioned probably a couple times now, is it gives you an opportunity to become an authority. You want to be seen as the authority in your space, right? And now if you're trying to do everything all at once, it is going to be very challenging for you to become an authority unless you have a very, very large following. So you can probably think to yourself, some people who are out there, who have built a business for themselves and are very successful, but they're like the 1%, right? They're the odds of you just storming in and becoming an authority on all things fitness is probably pretty slim. I'm not to say you couldn't do it. I'm not judging you, but you're going to have a much easier time getting started if you just pick something to laser focus on, and then you can branch off from there, right? So like traditionally, I do nutrition coaching with my clients, but I do write workout programs for them, and we do lifestyle coaching, and we do other things like that. But it all has come from that initial stem of doing nutrition coaching for people. Okay, so we want to be a specialist, and here's again some more why. Is number 1, it differentiates yourself, so it helps you stick out, right? In an ocean of Instagram models and gurus and people who think they know what they're talking about, it's going to help you stick out from the crowd. So if you are the guy or girl that is the specialist on the keto diet, or improving sleep or whatever, you are going to stick out. Your content's going to stick out, and it's going to help solve that particular problem for somebody. The other thing too that's nice is you can have higher ticket offers. Like I mentioned with the doctor analogy before, right? As a specialist, you can have a higher ticket offer because you're the authority on that subject. So for me, when I have people who come to me and we do nutrition coaching and they see all the testimonials on my website, they see that, I've worked with UFC fighters and all this other stuff, they go, holy shit, like Joe knows what he's talking about, and people pay for that. So because of that, I don't need to have 500 clients in order to have a good side business. I can have 10 or 15, and that's good money rolling in. So that's something you want to consider as well, is what's your bandwidth and how much can you deal with. And in my second video rather, we talked about mindset and how you should be valuing yourself, right? Just from sort of an introspective perspective, but also too is this is going to reflect on how you value your offerings. So if you are the authority on your thing, and you know it, and you're putting out a good service, and you're there to help people, you can charge more for that, and by virtue you can have less clients, which gives you an ability to give them more and serve them even better, and then your prices can reflect that as well. So something to think about there. And last but not least, it carves out your own space. So like I said, in a sea where people are drowning with internet gurus and whatever else, it helps you kind of carve out your own space in the world where maybe no one's even been yet. I mean, that would be ideal, right? Is maybe you're the first person to that sub-market that you get into. It's going to help you to obviously stick out, but you can kind of nestle down and carve your own space and just mop up all the people that need that help or that service. All right, kind of building on that, it creates opportunities. So we want you to build a market that's willing to buy from you. We want a crowd of people who are hungry to spend money on whatever it is you are offering. And the more you differentiate yourself, the more you're going to define that market for yourself. So, if you think about it, right, like there's over 7 billion people on the planet. Everyone's got their own thing going on. Everyone needs help with something. So the odds of whatever it is you're thinking about as your service, there's got to be a market for it. Like there has got to be. I mean, think about all the stupid products that are out there, all the people who if you've been on Instagram looking at what people offer, and you're like, man, that's so dumb. Like how'd they get away with that, right? There is a market out there for your thing. So the only thing that's stopping you is what's between the ears. So don't feel like there's not a market for what you offer. That being said, if you can define that market, which we're going to talk about how to do some of that today, you can define your own destiny. And if you hit a sub-market that works for you, and that's kind of new enough and it's not oversaturated, you can scale up as quickly as you'd like, right? Because there's people who need to have that problem solved. You're the authority, so they're only coming to you. And you can bring on a coach. Like right now, I have a coach that works under me, and she's got a steady flow of clients coming in. And we also have an intern that works for us now too, who's gaining relevant industry knowledge and experience and business experience as a college student. And it's because we've been able to sort of define our own destiny and what we offer, and it's a little different than kind of what's around our area for sure, but also too in the general marketplace on the internet. And the last bit, which is pretty awesome with this too, is like I mentioned earlier, it lets you start from scratch. So if you're somebody, and if you're watching this, it's probably because you're new to building your online fitness business, or you've been doing it for a little while and you're stuck. This approach allows you to kind of start from scratch. Like I said, be the authority in one spot, and you don't need a big following to make this happen. You don't need to be Dwayne Johnson, as nice as that would be. You don't need to have 1 million Instagram followers. You can start this with 0 social media followers, and I'm going to show you in subsequent videos how to get your first few clients. But this just kind of helps you to define, who you are, what you offer, and start from scratch. Now, let's get into finding a market. So if you're here, presumably you're in the health industry, or if you're in fitness, you're essentially in the health industry, and you're looking to help make people healthier, right, and improve their life, their lifestyle. So this is the big market. What most people do is they try to attack health in general, right? Oh, I'm gonna be the workout, nutrition, blah blah blah, this, that, the other thing person, right? But imagine this circle here is anybody who is looking to spend time, money, effort on their health. Okay, it could be anybody. Now, also in this circle is all the people who offer help around health. It could be anything, right? This is a big old ocean of people that you are lost in. You're lost at sea amongst all the people that are offering and all the people that are buying. And it's very, very hard to stick out. So what we want to do is kind of drill down one step further. So let's look at, there's the 3 examples here that I put, but these are 3 sub-markets, right, that exist within health. So things like weight loss, general nutrition, training, right? You could put sleep here. You could put, whatever, mindfulness, you could do all kinds of stuff. But for the purposes of, let's say, a fitness business, online fitness business, this is where you want to begin starting to niche down and finding a market. So what you want to do is think about, what you want to offer people, and we'll do a whole video on what to offer and how to price it and all that kind of stuff. But what are you looking to offer? And I would definitely, for you, I would dig into what your strengths are. So if you're somebody who is really passionate about training and, working out, and you research all these programs and what works, and you're convinced that your stuff is awesome, and you can give a good service, maybe training is your sub-market that you go into. If nutrition is your thing and you have a passion about food and cooking and all that kind of stuff, maybe it's nutrition. Or maybe you just have a good eye for helping people lose weight, and you can see where they have shortcomings in their lifestyle, and you can help them optimize to lose weight. Whatever the case may be, maybe that's your thing. So start to get a feel for like what that sub-market is that you're going to exist in. Now you might say, oh, Joe, well, people lose weight through training and nutrition. Sure, yeah, that's fine. But not everybody is looking to do that, right? Some people want to build muscles. Maybe you want to do training and you're a bodybuilding coach. Maybe you're a prep coach and you're helping people get ready to go on stage. You're helping people who want to start bodybuilding to build muscle. Same thing goes for nutrition. Maybe you're somebody who, and a lot of times what's funny is your market generally is going to be, your easiest market to cater to is you, whatever your experience is, because you've walked that line before and you can show them how it's done. So for me, like I was a very heavy set kid growing up, played like little league and that kind of stuff, but not like a huge sports head. And, it wasn't until after college that I started really giving a shit about my weight and my health and looking to lose weight. And so I got into nutrition. So my thing is weight loss, primarily through nutrition. So that's kind of the journey that I walked. So you want to give some thought into, what's the journey that you've walked? Where have you been before? And how can you take those experiences to help people, right? And a lot of it too, and like I said, I know I keep talking about the other videos we're going to make. I'm going to make a ton of these, but sales is a big part of this. And how do you sell your coaching? How do you sell what you offer to people? And the old saying is, facts tell, stories sell. So if you have stories to back up what you're going to be doing with these people when you're on the phone trying to sell your services, you have a much higher likelihood of getting them to hop on board because they see the transformation, they see the journey. And actually, again, just to reference it, the books I mentioned earlier, with links will be in the description, go through that storytelling process too. So it was pretty cool. I realized I was already doing that when I got my business going, and here I am reading these books that are talking about that exact piece. So definitely something you want to keep in mind. But that being said, your strengths are mostly going to be, where you've come from in your journey. So start to think about that. Now, we have weight loss, nutrition, training. Again, these are just examples, but it's not deep enough. We want to carve out one more layer at least. And so this is the next example. You can kind of see how this starts to bubble out pretty quick. And you can do this on your own. You can literally take a screenshot of this, copy it, and then make even subgroups of this, whatever you want. But what I would say is you should try and go at least a couple levels deep from the general health bubble. So we'll start with weight loss. So when it comes to weight loss, right, there's all kinds of approaches you can take, and these are just basically examples of niches that have been carved out already. And you might be able to find a sub niche in these niches. So like keto is really big right now, intermittent fasting for weight loss, also like high intensity interval training, right? Kind of classic at this point. It's been around for a little while. Maybe you have a different spin on it. I don't know. Nutrition, paleo, obviously. Behavior change is kind of the realm that I live in when it comes to helping people with their nutrition and their weight loss. So I guess I kind of morph onto both sides of that spectrum there, but behavior change is sort of where I reside in helping people build healthy habits over time, right? So the slower approach, but things that tend to stick a little more and help to change your lifestyle. Vegetarian, vegan, plant-based stuff is pretty big right now. I know when what was that documentary, Game Changers, when Game Changers came out, right? That was everyone all of a sudden wanted to ditch meat and start eating plants, right? So maybe that's your thing. Maybe you're vegetarian and you can help people with their nutrition that way. And then for training, could be anything, any style of training. CrossFit, really popular, Beachbody stuff, Zumba. It doesn't matter, right? The big thing is, are you carving out a space that's sort of untapped? So these are just examples of niches underneath sub-markets, right? So health being the major market, weight loss, nutrition, training are sub-markets, and then these niches that I've carved out for you here, you might even want to go one layer deeper. So here's an example. And this is one that I've seen before for sure. So let's say a health training, let's say it's CrossFit. For those of you who are CrossFitters out there, and this might have happened to you, I know it definitely happened to me when I started doing CrossFit, was I got bit by the weightlifting bug, Olympic weightlifting. I still think it's like one of the coolest things. So I wanted to learn more about that, and I started seeking out coaches that could help me with Olympic weightlifting. And so, but in the context of CrossFit, right? So, Olympic lifting as it pertains to CrossFit, that would be a sub niche of the niche of CrossFit. So take time with this, guys. Like, take time, map this out, draw out, write down write out your journey. What path have you walked? What your strengths are, and how you can use what you've done to help people in your niche, in your sub niche. And then you can target them specifically. And the best part about it is it's going to help you become an authority on that topic very quickly, because you've kind of already been there, done that. So want to make sure that we're taking that step, and that goes into becoming the authority. And some of this is, we'll talk about content briefly in this video today. I'm going to do a whole thing, like I said, on content, but it's important for you to become the authority in your space. And it's going to become very easy. It's a lot easier for you to become the authority when you're in one little specific realm versus trying to do everything all at once. So, and why is it important to become the authority? Well, the first thing is you want to solve people's problems. That's why you got into this industry in the first place. And being able to solve that specific problem is very important, and it's going to drum up business for you, no doubt about it. So you need to think about what you specialize in, how it solves people's problems, and then you can start to convey that through creating relevant content. When I say relevant content, I don't mean like, is it relevant in today's times? I mean, is it relevant to the people you're making it for? Right? There's some cool tricks I'm going to show you with like YouTube and stuff that you can actually find out what to make very, very easily, very simple. But the big thing is, are you making content? Are you putting yourself out there and demonstrating you're the authority in your space? And is the content solving their problem, right? They have some sort of problem, and you need to be out there solving it, and you need to be the guy or girl that's the one they have to go to. They are the authority in that space. And lastly, I'll say is just keeping it simple. So yeah, I'm covering a lot today, so with what we're doing, but take your time with it and keep it simple. I know I got kind of the whole paralysis by analysis with this when I first started, where I'm thinking, oh man, I gotta make this sub niche and a niche and a niche, and you just keep going. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna help people, with nutrition, change behaviors, to lose weight, only if they have blue hair and their birthday is in April. Like, you don't have to be that specific. It can be, hey, I'm gonna focus on helping people lose weight. I'm gonna do it, from a paleo diet perspective, and I'm gonna focus on blah blah blah, whatever. Like, obviously, you don't want to go into a very saturated market. Paleo is pretty saturated, but don't spend your whole week trying to figure out what your niche is. Like I said, if you go back, review your journey and what path have you walked, and what things have you found worked for you, what do you gravitate toward, what do you think you're good at, and you sort of utilize that to guide where you go and who you go to help. You're going to be well on your way to getting this figured out. So again, you definitely want to go to the top slide here. You definitely want to go back, find a niche, figure that out. It's going to help you differentiate yourself. It's going to help you, get to a market with people who are hungry, and it's going to make it very, very easy, but easier for you to become an authority in that space, differentiate yourself, and grow your business. So, hope this video helped you today, guys. Like I said, a couple of the books I mentioned earlier, I'll put links in the descriptions below to check out. Like I said, the books are fantastic. They're free plus shipping, and the audiobooks are awesome as well. So you definitely check those out. There's a lot more detail on them too. Definitely give the video a like and comment below with anything you want to see me cover in this series. I'll make sure I get that done for you. And last but not least, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a video, and we'll see you all soon.